Good morning. Hope everyone is doing well and hope you had a fantastic Easter weekend. Um, I spent the weekend up at the cabin, which is beautiful and nice to spend some time with the family, particularly because Friday I got off the plane from visiting my team in Arizona and got to spend some good quality time with the kids. So hopefully you guys had a great Easter weekend as well. We're going to jump right into it this morning because we have a lot of information to cover. So real quickly, let's recap what we've covered so far because this really is a sequential process, and I'm trying to stack these fundamentals up in a way that we can take immediate action, and the action we take in any given week builds upon or prepares us for the action that we need to take in the week following. So week one, we talked about getting clarity on our goals, working them backwards so we can focus on the activities, understanding what our lead measures are. Second week, we dove into time blocking to say, how do we actually protect our time to make sure that our calendar matches our goals? Week three, we debunked the myths around lead generation and talked about some lead generation techniques and how we make it more difficult than it really needs to be, and we just need to have simple conversations for nurturing relationships. And so today we're going to talk about how to systematically keep the value of our conversations high. So just as a quick reminder of some of our notes last week, let me show you. If it will pop up here. Here we go. So last week we talked about what I call the machine, where we drew the machine in here, talked about her whole idea here is to build our data bank, build that database up, give it the opportunity to create that systematic follow-up with our people. We talked about our number one lead source needs to be our sphere of influence, and having those conversations is really about getting permission for us to have consistent, systematic follow-up with them. Now, the same thing goes with any of these other lead sources. Say our second lead source here was social media. Again, the whole idea is how do we promote a conversation to nurture a relationship, have them give us permission so that we can systematically follow up with them. Now, remember this silly little drawing I did here is the whole idea behind that conversation is now we could have a quality conversation with the person, and the whole idea behind these drip campaigns behind it is that we can systematically remind them of the value of this conversation. Now, this is where a lot of people get hung up on utilizing and implementing the drip campaign process. Is number one, they're worried that it's going to feel impersonal. And number two is they get too caught up in trying to make it perfect or really personalized, or they want to modify it over and over and over again to the point that they never send it out. Now, the thing that we have to remember is the quality really is going to show up right here. If we do a great job of having those quality conversations, yes, these pieces still will look like quality pieces, but we don't need to put as much time and energy into those follow-up pieces as we do, because all they are is to trigger in their memory that this quality conversation happened. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis and think, oh, I've got to work on my drip campaigns over and over and over and over and over again, that you never implement them. Where people get turned off from those drip campaigns is if this piece, that quality conversation or that client event or that quarterly follow-up conversation never happens. Then it becomes annoying. If you're doing those quality conversations, all it does is it makes them go, oh, yeah, I remember that. That's great. So let's jump into the content for today, which is how do we systematically set this up so that it's not taking a lot of our time? Because one of the things we learned in our time blocking conversation is we only have so much time in a day, and if our whole day is spent on doing these little follow-up pieces trying to keep a relationship alive, it keeps us from going to build other business or servicing the business that we do have. So this is a graph from the MREA talking about how the whole process of capturing a lead. And the same thing here is we capture a lead, we have to connect with that lead, whether it's through an open house or a conversation or whatever that looks like. And once we connect with that lead, we need to have, now they're shifting in with the conversation of 7 to cement. This is also known as an 8x8 campaign, which we're going to talk about today. And now it used to be a 33 touch, but now they're talking about it actually takes 36 touches to convert them to a sale. So once we've connected with the people, we're going to focus on the 8x8s and the 33 touch today. The process from lead capture to connection is if you are targeting a lead source that you have no connection with, that you're just trying to connect with them. So a great example of this is farming. You know, if you're gonna farm a neighborhood, a lot of times it takes 19 months of sending them a monthly newsletter before you actually get the opportunity to connect with them. And we know a lot of times that ratio is a 50-to-1 ratio. So for this purpose, for the purposes today, we're going to assume that most of us are not doing an ample job of following up with the people we already know in our SOI, in our social media. So we're going to focus on the 8x8 campaigns, which is 8 touches in 8 weeks once we've had that connection to solidify or cement the relationship. And then the 33 or the 36 touch are those touches, ongoing touches that occur throughout the year. So here, I'll make sure to send this document as part of the email today. But you can see kind of some of their recommendations here for the 19 to connect, which again, we're not going to talk about today, the 7 to cement, and the 36 to convert. So what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to walk you through the process utilizing eEdge to show you how easy it is to, number one, set up the drip campaigns, and number two, I'm going to show you how to manage a lead really easily, because these are the questions or the comments I get from agents all of the time of, you know, I log in and decide I'm going to start working on it, and I give myself 30 minutes to work on it, and within 5 minutes I get frustrated and leave and never set it up. So to make this as simple as possible, in the next 20 minutes, I am going to show you how to set up a buyer 8x8, a seller 8x8, a 33 touch, and then I'm going to show you how to create a new contact, attach them to those one of those drip campaigns, and how to set yourself reminders to follow up. So we're now utilizing a CRM. It is not as hard as we make it out to in our minds. Now, the power of eEdge is much more and bigger than what I'm going to show you today, but this at least gets you started with the 3 significant pieces of those 8x8s and the 33 touch. So let me flip over and share my screen here. And we're going to jump into it. So once you log into MyKW, the first thing we're going to go to is we're going to go to the My Marketing tools, because when we go to My Marketing, we have the ability to create the marketing campaigns or any marketing materials for that matter. So I go to My Marketing, create marketing materials. As this logs me into eEdge here, keep in mind that we're going to focus number one on that buyer 8x8. And the significant portion of this is anytime you meet a potential buyer, someone that's considering buying. A great example of this is an open house or a sign call on one of your listings. The conversation needs to lead and set you up that they have the expectation that this seller or this buyer 8x8 is coming. Because if it just shows up randomly, that's going to feel like spam. If your conversation leads up to, hey, by the way, I'm going to send you an email here in a few minutes that walks you through the buying process in today's market to help educate you, I want you to follow up. I want you to read that email, and I'm going to follow up with you. You're setting the expectation that they're going to see the email, and it's not going to feel like spam to them. So here inside the Marketing Center, inside of here, you can create thousands and thousands of marketing pieces. If you ever are thinking, oh, I'd like to build this, or I'd love to have something that shows what's going on in the real estate market, come here first. You're going to find it. But again, we're going to focus on the templates, the systematic follow-up using the 8x8s and the 33 touch today. So I come right over here to the design library, and I'm going to go to the campaign templates. And this is generally how far people usually get, because they come in here, and the problem is there's immediately shown 62 results of different campaigns that you can plug into. And if you're anything like me, you look at that and say, I don't have time to look through 62 campaigns to decide which campaign to select. So I'm going to make it really easy today. I'm going to show you exactly which ones I would plug into. So let's focus first on a buyer 8x8. So you can actually filter this down to say I'm going to focus on the buyer campaigns. It takes me down to 16 results. Now there's several 8x8s in here, and you can see the difference between them are if you're an individual or team, or your method of delivery, meaning is it all email, is it all print, or is it a combination of print and email? Now I will tell you what I do is I generally focus all on email because it's really easy to set up, it's free, and it gives me the opportunity to have conversations. We do send things out to our SOI and our clients on occasion, but normally that's specific to an event we have coming up or something like that that isn't part of the 8x8 process. I like the 8x8 process for me to be all digital. So the one that I'm going to recommend for you is called the 8x8 buyer, a great time to buy, because right now it's about helping buyers understand that this is a great market to buy in. Now you can see that the 8x8 buyer, a great time to buy, make sure you're choosing the one that does not say team, as you can see here. And this is where you can look at this. Now you have the opportunity to modify every single one of these if you choose to. So choose the template, and it's going to pull up every one of these touches for me. So as I look at this, it shows me exactly when the touches are, and it shows me what the touches are, and I can modify them if I want. Now, I will tell you this. I want you to understand that you have the opportunity or the choice to modify them, but I recommend just running them as they are. I used to look through every one and get nervous about what was going out, but the truth of the matter is these are not the quality where my clients are looking for the quality relationship nourishment. All this is doing is reminding them of how great of a guy I am and how great of a conversation we had. So I really don't modify these as they go out, but I will show you that as you go through here, you can see step 1 of 8 is it's scheduled 1 day after the contact is added. So the minute I say, hey, trigger this 8x8 campaign, it goes out the day after. And it says the email subject line has buyers have an advantage in today's market. Now I can personalize this and pull it up to say I want to personalize it. And I can come in here and modify anything I want inside this email. Now notice that it automatically puts my name and phone number in here. It pulls up the logo, pulls up my team logo, and has it all in there, so it's all branded to me. Now I can save this with the changes, I can exit it out, and it'll be ready to go. Now you can see that this all now happens one touch every week. Some of these are reminders where it reminds you phone call script. This is the time to pick up the phone and call them. Now, when you're logging into the CRM regularly, it will give you a reminder. As you can see, I've got a couple of reminders sitting in here for me right now that it's time to call this person. So this is, I would recommend coming in here, choosing this 8x8, and you can instantly say, I want that one. We reviewed and configured the steps. We can add or remove contacts here if we had any contacts that we wanted added to this already in here, or by group. So if you already have people in there, you can add them immediately there, and then we can review and activate. So the only thing you have to remember here is don't forget step 4 to review and activate this, saying I have reviewed this campaign. I do want to include showcase properties on all email steps, meaning that at the bottom of the email, it gives them the option to say, hey, would you like to go look at properties? And they can click on it, and it will take them to my website to look at properties. And I can immediately say, activate campaign. Now, our 8x8 buyer is set up and done. So now I want to do the same thing for my 8x8 seller. So I'm going to go back to the Marketing Center. I'm going to create a campaign template. I'm now going to filter by sellers. And you can see I've got 13 set. And now I get to go through and choose the 8x8 seller to educate my seller. Now, the one I recommend here is the 8x8, oh, excuse me, not that one. It is the 8x8 seller, here to help you sell. So this is the one that goes through and helps solidify you as the brand of choice, that you're there to help them through the selling process. Now I come down here, 8x8 seller, here to help you sell. Now I got to choose the template, and we go through the same process that we just went through. I have the opportunity to go personalize all of these if I want to. So this one, I'm here to help you sell, is I could pull that up if I want to and look at what it looks like. And you can modify here whatever your value proposition is. Now, a minute ago I told you don't necessarily go through and modify all of these. This is one I would actually come in and put my value proposition in and expand on this one a little bit. So this is basically an introduction of, hey, we met yesterday or we talked on the phone. I'm going to send you some information about the home selling process. I want to make sure that my value proposition is shown here. So again, it takes me 2 minutes to modify this and get it done. It will automatically pull my picture, my logos in here, and it will be good to go. The rest of these is I let it run. Today's market myths, whatever these are, is I let them run exactly how they are. I let the phone calls, gives me the scripts for the phone calls and the reminders when it's time to follow up with them. And it's that easy now to set up my seller 8x8. I just activated that campaign. So here we are within 5 minutes. I've already got my buyer 8x8 done, my seller 8x8 done. Now let's quickly choose our 33 touch, and we're going to be done with our drip campaigns. Now I will show you real quickly, so we don't have to come back in here, there is a couple other campaigns. For example, the birthday campaign. So you can come in here and say, okay, I want to send birthday cards. Really easy to select the birthday campaigns, which runs for the next several years, and you can decide how to do it. Some people love to make sure that they're just making phone calls on birthdays and not sending emails. So you can put in birthday reminders. All this does is reminds you before their birthday to give them a call. The other one I really like that I think that's a little bit different are anniversary campaigns. So when you're putting in a new contact, and I'll show you where this is, you can put in what date did they purchase or buy a home from you, and it can give you reminders to call and congratulate them at their purchase anniversary, which is nobody else is going to be calling them on that date like their birthday. So here we're going to jump down to the 33 touch. So this one right here, the 33 touch, your local expert. Now again, make sure you're not choosing the one that says team, but here we are. This is all email and reminders of things that I need to do to make sure I'm touching my people 33 times throughout the year. Now notice on the very first diagram I showed you today, it's talking about 36 touch, not 33 touch. My other touches, we're actually going to surpass the 36 touch. My other touches are going to come in the form of client events and quarterly phone calls, which we're going to set up just like we did with our lead generation strategy last week. That we're going to go by first letter of last name, and every 13 weeks, everyone's going to get a call that is grouped as A+, A, B, or C in our database. And our client events that we do, for example, we're going to do a big summer party with big blow-ups and water balloons, and we're actually going to, everyone that RSVPs, we're going to send out a packet of those 50 water balloons, so they all come with water balloons done, is our big summer event that we're planning right now. And everyone's going to get multiple touches specific to that event. So that's not included in the 33 touch. Those touches are in addition to the 33 touch. Same thing here, choose the template. And this is one I do not touch and modify at all. I let it run as it is. In fact, it's to the point for me only, it gives me a reminder to say, okay, the April month in real estate newsletter is ready for your review. So all this is doing is giving me a reminder to review this because it just got created and they want to make sure I don't want to make any changes. To be honest with you, I don't even come in here and review them anymore because I always think they're value content and I think they're good to go. So these are all ready to go. I'm going to come down, review and activate. And now my 33 touch is done. So again, you can see in about 8 minutes, we've got a buyer 8x8, a seller 8x8, and a 33 touch done. They're ready to go. Now the key comes, how do we utilize these as tools? So let me walk you through a couple examples. So you can see here, if I come in here and go to my contacts and I want to look at all my contacts, I can either go to an existing contact. Let's say Bob Byer here. You can see we're using, there really isn't someone out there named Bob. Well, maybe there is someone named Bob Byer, but you can see that I've set this one up as an example here. So when I can go into Bob Byer and I can easily pull him up, and I can come in here and I can come down and add him to the campaigns we just created. So you can see I've already got him on another 8x8, but let's add him to this campaign as well. So I'm going to add contact to a campaign, and I'm going to go through and choose. Yours won't have this many in here because I set these up whenever I'm doing this training. So here we are. I can go say 8x8, great time. I'm going to add this to the contact. Done. Okay, so now tomorrow, this buyer is going to get the first email in our buyer 8x8. So it's really easy to add those people on here, and I can come in here and make any notes that I want. A couple quick comments I will make about this area is from the contact here is there's a lot of things I can do. I can actually come in here, I can send them an email, I can send them listings directly out of here. I can come down and add notes. So you can see on yesterday when I was playing with this contact, I met him in an open house on 1212 Canary Road. So say I had a conversation with him today, and I could write in here, great conversation about his new house. Well, apparently I need to work on my typing. New house. So I can put that in here. If I had any reminders of follow-up, I could create a reminder for myself in here of something that I needed to do. So say based on that conversation, I needed a new reminder. I could come in here and say, okay, I committed to follow up with him by Friday of follow up about the house down the road from him that just hit the market. So now I just created myself a reminder. So when I log in on that day, it's going to pop up as another reminder for me to do. So this is a great way to keep track without really filling up your to-do list of how to follow up with your people. So now I can easily come up here and go to my reminders, and it will show me what things that I had committed to do today. So Sammy Seller, I committed to have my listing presentation prepared by that day. I could come in here and say that I have completed that task. Now Bob the buyer, follow up on the homes I sent him. So that was due on the 28th. So I would come in here and say I completed that task, or if I needed to edit it and say, oh, well, we pushed out to next week, I could do that. So this is a great place to keep your reminders. This is a really simple process of coming in here and saying contacts, create a contact. Let's say I had an open house today and I had several buyers fill out a open house sheet, or better yet, say I was lead genning, following up with some of my people, and I connected with someone that says, hey, yeah, you know what? I actually am going to be selling my house within the next couple months. And that conversation led me to say, hey, great, we set an appointment for next week. Before I meet with you, I'm actually going to send you over a couple emails that will start educating you on the process of selling your home in today's market. So you're going to see the first email from me either later today or first thing in the morning tomorrow. And then I'm going to go to work on preparing for our meeting. So I'd come in here and say, awesome, I've got a lead. They're a hot lead because they told me they're going to move within the next 3 months. And this is Sarah Seller was her name. I'm going to come in here. It's really easy for me to pop this in really quickly. I'm going to take one chance and put everything I can in here, right? At this point, I've probably linked to her Facebook, looked at it. I might have her birthday, which is April 11th. It just happens that her birthday's coming up. I don't know a purchase anniversary. She is a seller. And then I can come in here and put in her phone number, her email address. Now, the key here is it tells you that you have to have a phone number and an email address to create a valid content or a valid contact. So you got to make sure that anytime you're doing lead generation that you're really driving for a phone number and you're driving for an email address. So this is Sarah Seller at yahoo.com. I'm guessing that's her email address. Come in here, make any notes. What did she tell you today? Put in her mailing address if you know it. But again, this is something that I try to get as much information in here as I can so that I can not have to come in and modify it significantly. So I'm going to put in that she's looking in Layton and her max budget is $450. Okay, so that way I can start sending her information. I can send her a welcome email, but I'm going to put her on an 8x8 campaign instead. So here as a group, I'm going to put her in as a seller. So this is one area you can go in and modify your groups, and you can see that I've already got in my groups in here where I can say, you know, my goal is now she's a seller. I have met her, and now I'm going to say my goal is to get her into my A+, my A's, my B's, or my C's. Along the way. So now I can say, great, save this, we're done. Oh, it's telling me the email address is invalid. Sometimes it lets me guess a good one that works. See, Sarah Seller, her email address works. She's going to get an email from me tomorrow. I don't know who it is, but so now I can come in here and say, great, this person's ready to go. Now, the only thing I can want to make sure I would do is come down here and say, I'm going to add her to a campaign, because I can't add her to a campaign the minute I create the contact. The contact has to get created, and then I get to add her to a campaign. So I'm going to quickly add contact to a campaign, and I'm always going to add them to their 8x8, but I'm also going to add them to the 33 touch. So I'm going to add her to the 8x8 seller here to help, and I'm also going to add her to the 33 touch, your local expert. So now those are done. So now those are set up, they're going to roll, we're moving along, and I'm also going to put myself a reminder to say, okay, I set up a listing appointment. So I'm going to, on the 10th of next week, which is Tuesday. So I'm going to make sure on Friday that I'm going to make sure I've got prepped for listing appointment with Sarah Seller. Okay. So I've created myself a reminder. Now the CRM is going to remind me, and it's going to keep track, a running list of all my reminders coming up. So it is that easy. You saw in less than 15 minutes now, I have given myself the opportunity to systematically follow up and keep the quality of my relationships alive. Last week I gave you the sample, or the example that every conversation we have with our clients is very similar to buying a new car. The minute we drive that car off the lot, the value of that car immediately starts to depreciate, and depreciate at a very quick rate. It's the same thing with the conversations we have with people. We can think we crushed an appointment, and the minute we walk out of that appointment, or a minute they leave that client event, the value of that, the quality of that relationship is immediately starting to depreciate, because there's so many outside influences trying to tell them that there's another better brand out there. That is the value of this piece. From my opinion, it doesn't 100% disvalue or decredit lead generation by not having this set up, but it significantly reduces the amount of people that are going to stay in contact with you and keep you brand of choice. And the MREA model says that for every 12 people you have in your database or your data bank that you're following this process with, you should be getting pretty close to a 12-to-2 ratio, meaning for every 12 people in your data bank, you should be counting on 2 transactions a year, one from that 12 and one referral from that 12. If we're not doing the systematic follow-up, that ratio significantly decreases, and it's not even in the same ballpark. So it blows me away how many agents are not tapping into this as an opportunity. So here is your assignment for this week. Your assignment for this week is to say, I am going to get more value out of my lead generation time, because I'm going to go set up an 8x8 buyer campaign, an 8x8 seller campaign, and a 33 touch. Those are the 3 things that I need you to do. Everybody that's in your database, and if you haven't already loaded your database or your SOI into your CRM, into eEdge, connect with your agent services coordinator in your office. They will help you upload all those people in, and we can instantly attach a campaign to them and start at least the 33 touch on all of those people. So everybody in your world should already be getting the 33 touch from you. Create the 8x8 buyer, create the 8x8 seller, create the 33 touch, and commit to adding your contacts in here and starting to utilize the reminder section of eEdge. And then from there, you can build on that and start utilizing the CRM at a higher level. So here we are, it's 8:30. In 30 minutes, we got it all set up. Didn't just tell you how to do it. I actually did it and built it. You can go get it done this week. So we're gonna wrap up right now. I applaud you guys for being on the call this morning. Thank you for participating and focusing on the fundamentals in your business. I think it's critical for this year for us to reconnect with the simplicity of this business, which is gonna put us ahead. So I'm gonna wrap up here. However, I am gonna open it up for any questions that anyone has on the call. So any questions for me regarding what we talked about today or anything else? Got a thumbs up from Quinny. I'm going to assume that means no questions. You're good to go. Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, if there's no questions, I'm going to challenge you guys to go get that done. Make it a great week, and we'll talk to you next Monday.